Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here for Bronze Season 9, Round 13, and it's a Mystery Grand Prix, of course, with all the mysteriousness, and we are ready to get going then. The choices are Azerbaijan, Singapore, and the US of A, and the wheel's already going now as well then, so let's see what is the first track to be eliminated then from the Mystery Wheel tonight then, and it looks like, unless it's going to keep going for a brief moment then, it looks like Baku is the first track off the wheel, which means we will not be racing then at the Baku city circuit then, or the street circuit I should say then. USA and Singapore then are the two remaining then. It's going to be a choice of those two. Whichever is coming next off the wheel will not be the track for tonight then. It will be the remaining track on the wheel, I should say, not on the calendar. And it's going to be US of A then eliminated from the Mystery Grand Prix tonight then, which means there's only one left, but we'll have to wait for the wheel to confirm it. But it's not going to be Kota tonight then. It is going to be something else then, and it's going to be one more that's left as well here, which is only the one that is left as well. Of course, silver raced there last night as well, and of course, gold took to US of A then on the Sunday event then in this Mystery Grand Prix. Then Singapore then is next, and the final track off the wheel then for Bronze Season 9, Round 13, the Mystery Grand Prix. We are going to be racing in Marina Bay then for the Bronze division, and let's have a look and see how it's going to fare then as we get ourselves into the race itself there. And Singapore then has been confirmed then. It is off the wheel then, the final one off the wheel as well then. Baku then is done and dusted, the first choice off the wheel then. US of A second, and now Singapore confirmed for the Grand Prix tonight then. And there it is then, USA of course for gold, then Singapore for silver and for bronze as well then. So interesting stuff indeed. No Baku then for anybody there. So there we go, good stuff. We can get ourselves started now hopefully. Well, fingers crossed we can anyway. And let's go through the comment section quickly as well then. Let's go Bronze says Jinner as well then, good luck. Then says Styles and hope it's not Baku. It wasn't Baku. Astrodron, sorry, said good evening all then. Hi Alex, good luck. Bronze says Kiki. And we've got Mushroom saying I hate all the tracks there. Good stuff indeed. Good luck everybody from Gaming Infinity as well then. Reserving then in place of Williams then tonight. I'm not quite sure who. USA says Jamie. Unfortunately not USA to know. Goodness me, says Ginger Age then with exclamation marks. The one track I can't get right then, of course, says Gaming Infinity. Oh dear, that's not looking promising then. Actually, don't mind Singapore, says Slayer as well then. Redraw, says Ginger Age. Not the quickest here, says Slayer as well. Thought not quick in any races in general then, says Slayer. Oh, goodness me. Well, hopefully he can find some pace then here in Singapore tonight. Then we're going to have the qualifying underway momentarily then, just getting the drivers then readied up then to go here in Singapore. Hard enough to understand what the weather is, let alone the track, says Dynamo Dan. Goodness me. Well, hopefully we can speed through and get some Warzone underway then afterwards as well then, so we'll have to find out. But first we're going to get ourselves through qualifying then of 18-minute session then, and 31 laps of action here to unfold in the Marina Bay itself as well. Good stuff. Right then. Well, hopefully somebody is given the go-ahead, because we're sitting here waiting to start now, and we've had everything good to ready to go, and we're now waiting for the lobby to go. But we'll get ourselves moving very shortly, hopefully, and we can get on with the racing itself, then the qualifying first, of course, then. But of course, Silver then raced around here last night. Then it was a very difficult race for Silver, and it started on the medium, well, not the medium combat tire, it started in the dry session, that is, and then only a few laps in, then similar to the Silver race in Monza as well then, similar to the Monza race in Silver. It started raining only a few laps in, then I had to pit for intermediate compound tyres. It looked at one point it was going to go to the wets, didn't it, for Silver as well then last night, but it then changed back to the dries for the final few laps of the session as well then. So a fantastic race then from Silver as well last night. Chaos in terms of the conditions, but fantastic racing as well then from the whole grid. Everybody finished as well then in Silver around this difficult track then with treacherous conditions as well. Then it was fantastic to see, and hopefully we can get ourselves started. Evening Alex, and hello all racers as well. They're from Kamara Racer, and good luck Bronze, and no rain. Of course, Kamara Racer then, I don't think he was a fan of the rain yesterday, but yes, unfortunately it is well, it's usually a curse then, especially around Singapore. We might see some more rain tonight then as well then, but Jinner is hosting then in place of Smithy then, and we will see how it's going to fare then, especially in qualifying. If it's raining in qualifying, hopefully that means it's not going to be raining for the race then. Hopefully you don't get a full wet session, because that would be very wet indeed. And I might start to drown then. There's something in the cockpit then for sure. As we get ourselves loaded in finally then for qualifying then underway. And hopefully we can get ourselves started. Then it's a nice and dry evening here in Singapore then for qualifying, that is. And we'll have a look and see what the situation is with the telemetries and get everything sorted. And we are underway. Let's have a quick rundown of the championship order as it stands then for the top of the order, that is. As we get ourselves sorted then for the start of qualifying now. Bronze then in the championship standings. Then we've got change of position then in terms of the race leader, or championship leader I should say. Then it's Dan now taking the lead for the Alpine team, 196 points then after a fantastic performance then in Monza last week. Then Luke then in P2, then the first time I think of the season that Luke's not been on the top spot in the championship standings. Then 182 points then for Luke. Then he did get himself a point or two I think in the Italian Grand Prix, but not a very good start then unfortunately for Luke. Then not a good race last week for Luke. Then has cost him the lead in the championship. Then Ginner then has got himself up into P3 then with 147 points then ahead of Dynamo Dan, who's on 142 points in P4. Then Serious Mushroom 116 points in P5. Styles then in P6 then with the Haas then 109 points for him. Then joint with Smithy Almighty then in the Kick Sauber in P7. Then Mr. Elite, the other Haas driver, then in P8. We've got Corey Brennan, unfortunately has had to step down due to work commitments as well, so he will be sorted out then replaced unfortunately for him. Then Winnie then in P9, and Astra John then rounds off the top 10 for the drivers' standings. In the constructors, we've got a Kick Sauber lead then of 291 points then for Luke and Smithy. Haas then in P2 with 215 points, and the Alpine of Dan and Vintage then in P3 of 205 points then, but McLaren very close indeed behind then with 202, so they could sneak their way into the podium places for the Constructors' Championship then if the race goes their way tonight as well then. So that is that then for the championship order, or most of it. But there we go then, as we get ourselves ready then to start off the lobby, then start off the racing here as well then. Good stuff indeed. And there we are. Right, good stuff. We're into the session now, into qualifying, I should say. We've got a McLaren out on track as well then. I need to get the audio sorted so we can hear what's going on track as well then. There it is. Sorry about that. And there we go then. Virginia then leading us away then through the first of the flying laps here in Singapore then. And he is flying down towards turn 1. Medium compound tyres for the McLaren. Maybe there's a bit of a concern of overheating in these temperatures, high temperatures here in Singapore. And that Haas needs to get out of the way. And he has done, thankfully, which is good stuff indeed, because the McLaren is storming through turn 4 then onto the DRS straight as well. And yes, we do have game audio. That's good stuff indeed. Rain at the very end of the race as Luke then, so that is going to be very difficult indeed then for the championship leader, or former championship leader now I should say. Of course, all drivers have to tackle the same conditions, that is, which is a very good equaliser indeed, especially if it is rain, because rain is the best equaliser of the lot then, isn't it? According to some people, but there we go. Some people are going to be too quick in the rain, in my opinion. Everyone's too quick for me, but there we go then. Ginner then coming through over the Anderson Bridge. Goodness me, over the curve then. Slightly unsettled, that McLaren then heading into the hairpin now. And let's see what it's going to be then for Sector 2 as well. Then DRS then down the Raffles Boulevard as well as we head towards Sector 3. Purple, of course, as the first man on track. And heading into Sector 3 at 3.9, I think it was then for Sector 1 and 2 in terms of his total time, that is. But now into Sector 3, then can he improve? Or can he improve? He's going to have to set the first time on the board then. So I don't think he'll be able to improve on this one, but we'll have to see what he's going to be setting then to set the times alike then here in qualifying. Oh my goodness, we're a bit shaky out of the chicane there as well, then heading through the final corner. And Ginner crosses the line with the 28.2 then on the medium compound tyres. Good stuff indeed. We've got Styles starting off a lap as well then in the Haas. Then we've got a Ferrari of San then is powering down towards the final chicane then in that Ferrari. Soft compound tyres on the red car as well then. Good stuff indeed. Matching the colour combo indeed as well. Fantastic stuff from San then heading into the final couple of corners then. Let's see what it's going to be for San. It's 29.1, puts himself P2 as it stands at the moment then. Very good stuff indeed. Then we've got Gaming Infinity. No, we haven't. We've got Rocket Lee into the pit lane, unfortunately for Rocket Lee then. So he's had some sort of issues then. He's managed his time. I think he's got some damage on the left end plate, which is why he's coming back into the pit lane then, unfortunately abandoning that lap time. Here comes Mr. Elite then in the Haas. Then let's see what Mr. Elite can do then. Up to the line then. It's a 28.0. Puts himself P1 then for the time being. Good stuff from Mr. Elite. Very good stuff indeed. Umabro's done a 39.5. I don't think he's going. I think he's going again then in the Mercedes there because I'm not sure that's his representative pace. Let's just say that. Then to Kanko, a 34.8 as well. Then I don't think that's his representative pace either. To be fair, for the Ferrari. So two drivers I think trying to go for another attempt here. Vintage on an outlap as well. Then here comes Styles then heading into sector 3. I think we've got Gaming Infinity back in the pits as well. Unfortunately, for the Williams team, they're having to abandon their laps then on this occasion. Vintage then starting off a lap now as well. Then here comes Styles then heading into the final chicane. And I think we've got Jinder coming back to the pit lane there, as here comes the Haas then through the final chicane. Very nicely done indeed, then making sure we don't go too wide and clout that wall on the exit. Then up to the line then for Styles. What's it going to be then for the Haas driver? Can he displace his teammate from pole position? No, he can't. It's a 28.5 then for Styles, puts himself P3 on the second row of the grid. Then good stuff indeed. Very good stuff indeed from Styles. And of course, we've seen some pretty good performances then from both the Haas drivers then in this session. Then Ginger Age is on track, so beware everybody then. He has just started off a lap then heading through towards turn 4 in the Racing Bull, then heading into that heading to sector 2 momentarily. Then firstly got the DRS straight then, which is where the cars are the fastest on the circuit, I believe. So heading into the turn 5 now as well, then going through. Well, that's a technically not a corner, really, is it? But technically, I'm going to skip that one because I don't want to call it a corner at all. There we go. Then here comes Vintage over the bridge then into towards the hairpin now then in the Alpine. Of course, another pink helmet as well then. So Ginger Age and Vintage and having a competition of pink helmets. Very good stuff. And we're starting off a couple of more laps as well. Then here comes Vintage into sector 3, 5.2 for the second sector time. Then let's see what Vintage can do then. So in the final sector here of the first flying lap, then we've got only 11.5 minutes left of qualifying now, and we're running out of time then for drivers to get themselves out on set their first laps. And only 6 drivers have set a time so far. Both Williams have had to abandon their times as well here, it looks like, in the first attempt then, but there's still time for them to get themselves back out on track. Then Vintage at 30.8 puts himself P7 for the time being. Good stuff indeed. Both Red Bulls out on circuit. Then where is Ginger Age then heading through into the final chicane then for the Racing Bull. Then racing to the line then is Ginger Age, very close to the wall on the exit there, but keeping it within the track limits of course, and keeping it perfectly done indeed. Then from Ginger Age it's P6 with a 30.2 onto the third row of the grid then as it stands. Then very good stuff indeed then for the pink helmet, and I'm going to call him that. Ginger Age the pink helmet, but yeah, never mind, I'll skip that as well then, because I don't want to concentrate too much on Ginger Age, and it'll get me all flustered. Right then, where is Dynamo Dan? I think it's Dynamo Dan, isn't it? Where is Dan Dan? Dan Dan's further along, and Dan Dan, former teammates then with Dynamo Dan of course last season, but Dan Dan in the Alpine then is looking to try and charge on in the championship order. Then he's taken the lead of the championship then last week in Italy, and now looking to hold on to that as well. Then going through the final corner, then up to the line, it's P3 of the 28.4 then, 4 tenths away then from pole position. Then Mr. Elite looking very strong here indeed. Dynamo Dan is displacing then with the 28.4 as well then, but only a few thousandths of a second ahead of his former teammate then. Second rows for the Dans. Very good stuff indeed as well. Then Umabro P7, then Jamie's under 28.0 as well, then puts himself P1 then ahead of Mr. Elite, then onto pole position here for his first full-time appearance of course. He has taken over the seat then as well, then looking good indeed for the Mercedes team. Umabra then P7, then Goddard has jumped up to P9 then with a 29.9 and puts himself ahead of Ginger Age then, who's down in P10. Vintage coming back into the pit lane there as well. Then Slayer is coming through the final chicane then to finish off the first flying lap then for the second Racing Bull driver on the circuit, that is. Up to the line then for Slayer, it's a 28.2, then puts himself P3 then onto the second row of the grid. Fantastic stuff indeed from Slayer, looking very good indeed there as well. Then Ginger Age is going again then, it looks like, then in the second Racing Bull. Then I think he had a bit of more fuel on board. He's not got much ERS on board though, and I think, sorry, he has improved, sorry, to P10. That's why he's not got much ERS on board, because he just finished another flying lap then, that is why. And he has got himself up into P10 with a 29.3, then improving from a 30.2, then good stuff indeed. Gaming Infinity and Rocket Lee are back out on circuit as well, then flying through Sector 2 into Sector 3 then for Rocket Lee. Then we'll have a, well no, sorry, for Gaming Infinity I should say, heading into Sector 3 now then along this new straight, or the newest part of the circuit then, which has now been removed then from this stadium section. Then we go straight towards the chicane and flying in there. Of course there was DRS then in real life, but they haven't put that in then tonight, so there we go. Gaming Infinity then to finish off his first flying lap. He's on medium compound tyres. Then let's see what it's going to be. Then it's a 28.3 then from Gaming Infinity. Then he said he didn't like the track then, but he's looking pretty good on the medium compound tyre, and up in P5 then for the time being, and that could go even faster on a set of soft compound tyres. We'll have to wait and see. Brilliant stuff indeed. Umabro then finishing a lap then 28.7 for Umabro, then P9 for the time being, then Sand dropping down to P10. As Jenna has gone into the 27s, then goodness me, Jenna then with 20. Oh no, and Rocket Lee a 27.6 as well. Then God, my goodness me, that's fantastic stuff indeed from both Jenna and from Rocket Lee, and they are looking pretty fast out there as well. Then the time's tumbling in now, and the Williams then looking brilliant then for pole position as it stands. Then Jenna then in P2 with a 27.7 as well. Then it did improve by over 3/10 then to his next rival then of Jamie, but Rocket Lee, there was like I'm having some of that as well. Then a 10th faster than Jenna then at this stage then in qualifying. Fantastic stuff indeed then, brilliant stuff then from both Williams and the McLaren of Jenna and Rocket Lee. Good stuff indeed. We've got a Ferrari coming through then. Where is the Ferrari then? It's San. San stays P11 for the time being, then 29.0 then for the Ferrari then on his third full-time appearance, I believe it is, or maybe fourth then. I've lost count, to be fair. There's yes, good stuff. Right then, who's next across the line? We've got an Alpine. It's an Alpine machine then of Dan, the championship leader there, half a second up on his previous time. We'll put him into the 27s as well then. My goodness me, where's it going to be then for Dan? It's a 28.0, then he lost a bit of time then through the final sector then, and it's P5 with a 28.090, and that is only a thousandth away then from Mr. Elite, who's currently P4, and only a few hundredths away then from Jamie, sorry, in P3 then as well. Then goodness me, Dan then P5, then of course the new championship leader, the newest championship leader, I should say, then after claiming the lead in Monza, or after Monza last week, I should say. Goodness me as well. Jake the Slayer up into P6, then a fantastic time indeed from Jake the Slayer, and he's going for it again then into the final chicane. We've got a Haas then of Styles jumping up to P7, 28.2 then for Styles then. Good stuff indeed then. Who is next across the line? I hear you ask. It is Jake the Slayer, but he's coming back into the pit lane then, and his teammate is coming through as well. Then where is Ginger Rage? And goodness me, he is flying through there into the final corner. Then 29.0 then for Ginger Rage, puts himself P11 for the time being. But we've got Mr. Elite back on the track as well then, and Mr. Elite has flown up to P2 then onto the front row, and he's only 300 away then from the pole position of Rocket Lee, and that is looking pretty good then for Mr. Elite then out there. He is looking very strong in the Haas tonight here in Singapore. But Luke's done a 27.5 then. Goodness me, where's this come from then? Because Luke then was struggling in Monza then, but he's now done a fantastic job then of putting himself back on pole position then. The former championship leader now is looking to get himself back on the top spot here tonight then, of course, to try and reclaim his championship lead as well then into the final three races after this one then. We've only got one more Mystery Grand Prix, then we've got Qatar and Abu Dhabi then to finish off the 16-round season, but very good stuff indeed then. Luke then pole position as it stands then on his first flying attempt, I should say, then in this qualifying session. Then 5 minutes left then to go here in Singapore then to set the grid then for the Singapore Grand Prix. Then Ginger Rage coming back into the pit lane now. I think he's got time to get himself out, back in and back out again then for one more run. Then DeCanco is going again. Then Winnie Smithy and Serious Mushroom are stuck in the pit lane and haven't got themselves a time on the board then, let's just say that there. But there we are then. Dynamo Dan heading through into sector 2 now, as he's gone faster still by 1/10.5 then in the first sector, and still time to find then in sector 2 and sector 3 then. Jamie starting off a lap as well then. Mr. Elite coming back to the pit lane, I think then, but will he get back in time then? He's got 5 minutes then. Same for Luke as well then. Good stuff indeed for Luke then, back on pole position there where he is familiar with, of course. Yellow flags are fluttering out there for something or other then. It's not quite sure what it's fluttering for though. I think there's a Williams then trying to get out of the way then of the Mercedes pair flying through down the back straight. Then here comes Dynamo Dan then heading through the into sector 2, I should say, into sector 3 momentarily then for the Red Bull. Braking late then, 0.2 of a second up on his previous time. That would put him into the range with Styles and Slayer potentially then for that P7 position. Then he needs to find a couple more tenths to try and compete with Dan and for Jamie as well then, but Jamie's back out on track as well here into the final chicane then for Dynamo Dan. Then let's see what it's going to be then for the Red Bull driver then. Oh dear, that back end almost clouting the wall then on the exit there, heading up to the line now for the Red Bull. Then let's see what it's going to be then. What's the improvement then from Dynamo Dan? It's P6 at 28.076, puts himself onto the third row of the grid then. Very nicely done indeed. Wow, brilliant stuff. It's been fantastic qualifying. Then 0.4 of a second up, though, is Jamie. And that could be very worrying then for the likes of Jenna, for Mr. Elite, for Rocket Lee, and for Luke as well then. Into the final sector we go then for the Mercedes driver, then almost looking like he was going to clout the wall then on the entry to the corner there. As we've got a yellow flag then for the Red Bull, then just trying to get himself back into the pit lane. Then here comes Jamie, then rounding the final corner. Then Jamie then across the line. Then Jamie has Well, he's improved, but he stays P5 then. He must have lost a lot of time then in the final couple of corners there, because unfortunately for Jamie then, it is not, well, he's in the 27s now, but it is not where he wants to be. I think he wanted to, if he can keep hold of that improvement, he would have been flying up the order, but Jamie then staying at P5 for the time being as he goes into P5 then, so good stuff indeed then. Umabro, his teammate then, is in P11, then he's coming through into turn 4 now and heading down the main straight towards sector 2. How says there we go then. Right then, fantastic stuff indeed then. Lobby settings are wrong apparently. Brilliant stuff. Wow, that's fantastic. So there we go then. Umabro then is going through sector 2 now, and let's see what Umabro can do then heading through. He's not using much ERS though, to be fair, so maybe he's just cruising around then having a nice tour of the Marina Bay, but he needs to make sure he gets out of the way then of those coming through. Then that could be Rocket Lee then on a flying lap. That's not Rocket Lee, that's yes, it is Rocket Lee, sorry, going through the hairpin then. I'm not quite sure if Rocket Lee was a bit unsighted potentially there by that Mercedes then, but nonetheless then here comes Rocket Lee then powering down as Ginner's gone faster. Sorry, Ginner's then taken pole position away from Luke then with a 27.530. That is 13,000 of a second ahead of the Kicksauber then as it stands. Fantastic. Rocket Lee could have something to say about that as well though. Here he comes then into the final couple of corners then. Can Rocket Lee take that pole position back away then from both Luke and from Ginner as well then? Here he comes up to the line then for the Williams driver then. Let's see what it's going to be then as he crosses the line. It's going to be pole position for Rocket Lee, a 26.8 then from Rocket Lee, and that is, wow, what is that? 0.7 of a second faster than Ginner then, who's currently in P2. Rocket Lee is rocketing around the Marina Bay tonight then. He is flying out there, and fantastic qualifying lap indeed then from the Williams reserve as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed. And looking on form tonight then is Rocket Lee then. Fantastic. 2 minutes left of the session, just under 2 minutes left of the session then. Outlaps then for Luke and Mr. Reek then. Jamie then is trying to get himself through there, but I think he's harvesting again then is Jamie, sorry, and trying to get out of the way of those coming through. My God, then that was well, epic stuff indeed from Rocket Lee. I'm not sure he's going to be able to improve on that one again. That was fantastic. I think he's beaten my time, and well, to be fair, anyone can really. But so that's not really an achievement. But there we go. Jake the Slayer back on track, then going through into turn 4. Then we've got a Red Bull of well, that Red Bull then of Dynamo Dan is a bit late then of coming out of the pit lane. He's going to be having having a bit of a challenge, I think, to get himself to the start finish line in time then to start off a final flying lap here. The Red Bull then of where is the Red Bull then of Goddard's then is crossing the line to start off a lap as well then in the second Red Bull. That is then yellow flags out on track, I think, for drivers and getting out of the way then of those coming through. I think that might be Rocket Lee then just having a nice cruise back to the pit lane after his very fantastic current pole lap, that is. And wow, you've got to find 7/10 to try and beat Rocket Lee then for Ginner and for Luke as well. Then that's going to be quite a tall order, isn't it, there, as we've got a bit more traffic trying to get themselves sorted as well as we go through then into the final part of the qualifying. 30 seconds left of the session. I'm not sure Dynamo Dan is going to be able to make it then in time, because it's going to be very tight indeed as we go through then along the straight then to finish off the qualifying there as well. Here then we've got a McLaren. Then Ginner is back in the pit lane. And he's calling it a day then. He is retired in the pits then, has Ginner then. He is not going to be able to improve then on his previous time. Mr. Elite starting off a lap as well then. Where is Dynamo Dan? He has started a lap with 6 seconds to spare just about then. San might not make it though. San went, where is San then? He's cruising across the start finish line then. Unfortunately San didn't make it to the line by only a few tenths of a second, I don't think, or did he finish a lap there? But I'm not quite sure, but nonetheless San then P15 and qualifying done and dusted then for the Ferrari driver as well there. We've got don't have enough buttons on my joystick, says Mushroom then. Good stuff indeed. Mushroom then unfortunately didn't have enough buttons to get himself out of qualifying here tonight then, but there we go. Neither did well, Smithy has got himself out of qualifying, to be fair. Goddard's then improves to 28.4, then puts himself P13 then ahead of Umabro, who's still on a lap as well. He's not on a lap, unfortunately. He's harvesting a lot of energy there, going through into sector 3, so I think Umabro might be done and dusted in qualifying. Then Mr. Elite Mr. Elite's had a crash then. Mr. Elite's had an issue, and there he is. Goodness me, he's gone through him then as Dynamo Dan then into the hairpin then, thankfully for ghosting then for Dynamo Dan. Then here comes Luke then. Luke looking to get himself onto the front row. 27.1 then from Luke, then gets himself ahead of Ginner then, but still can't rival Rocket Lee then, who has rocketed up to pole position then. Fantastic. Hungry Styles back in the pit lane, calling it a day then. Here comes Dynamo Dan. He's a 10th up on his previous time now, and that will put him ahead. Where is Ginger Age gone? Ginger Age P12 then. He is retired in the pits as well, I think. Then we've got Dan jumping up to P4 then onto the second row of the grid then, right behind Ginner as well then. Good stuff. stuff indeed. Dynamo Dan next across the line, the final driver to cross the line as well here then. We'll run through the classification because I've missed everything there as well at the end then, but Dynamo Dan stays P9 and does not improve then on the final lap then. Messed up my last run, had loads of time to find 5/10 then to Slayer as well there. He is currently P10, then 5/10 would have put him into the range on the second row of the grid, I think then, which would have been pretty good stuff indeed then. Fantastic. Right, we'll run through the classification once we've got everybody sorted and back in the garages then, and we will see, have a quick word from our lovely sponsors before we get ourselves into the race itself then. And we've heard some rain rumours then in the race as well. Then we'll have to wait and see how it's going to fare as Rocket League takes pole position by 2.5 tenths to Luke. Then the former championship leader looking to regain that top spot then and is on the charge. Then Jenner is going to try and rival him, of course, as well. Then in the McLaren, Dan, who is now the championship leader as well. Then is only 2 places back then from Luke. Then Mr. Elite in P5, Jamie in P6 on his full-time debut. Styles in P7, then Winnie P8, then Dynamo Dan P9, Jake the Slayer P10, Gaming Infinity P11, Danger Age P12, Astra John in P13, Goddard's in P14, Yamabro P15, Smithy P16, Sand P17, Vintage P18, Kanko P19, and Serious Mushroom in P20. Welcome back then. We'll have a quick interlude whilst the drivers have a cup of tea, get themselves set up for the start of the Grand Prix itself then. The race is about to unfold then in a few seconds time. Then we're just getting the strategy sorted, the cups of tea consumed, the fuel loads, whatever, and everything else, making sure they've got not too much, haven't loaded the car too much so they don't get any plank wear and all of that sort of stuff as well. Then there we are then lining up on the grid then for the formation lap as we get ourselves underway then here in Singapore. Then this is going to be good indeed. Then I'm looking forward to this one then from Bronze. Lap data enabled. I think we want that. Goodness me, I don't know what we want. Right then, strategy wise, well, nothing much then as well. We've got 18 drivers starting on the medium compound tyres. That is Rocket Lee, our pole sitter, then in the Williams. Luke then in P2 looking to try and regain that championship lead then in the Kickstarter. Then Ginner in P3 looking to bring the fight then to Luke and to Dan, who is P4 then leader of the championship after Monza last week. Then let's see if we can try and regain that, or try and hold on to that, I should say, then into round 14, which is the next week of the Mystery Grand Prix. And we'll see if that's going to be the case then. Of course, it could be Mystery Grand Prix then to sort out the order once again then in the next round as well. Mr. Elite then in P5 in the Haas then medium compound tyres. As for same for Jamie then in P6 in the Mercedes on his full-time debut. Styles then in a bit of a making a bit of a Haas sandwich there in P7 then medium compounds for him then. Winnie in P8 then in the Aston Martin is on the hard compound tyre then, only one of two then on the hard compound, and he has decided to go long then in the first stint, and maybe even if the rain starts to fall earlier then he might be on the right call, the right strategy I should say then, to get himself through then and into onto the intermediate compound tyres or wet compound tyres even, depending on how quick the rain does fall. Then Dynamo Dan in P9 on the mediums as well then for the Red Bull. Then Jake the Slayer in the Racing Bull then in medium compound tyres, as is Gaming Infinity and Ginger Age P11 and P12. Then Astra John in P13 in the McLaren is also on the medium compound. Then we've got Goddard's who's on the hard compound tyre. We saw in qualifying that he only used the medium compound tyre to be fair, and got himself P14 after that. So potentially we could see Goddard's then looking pretty good then on the harder compound then to start off this Grand Prix in P14. Umabro in P15 on the mediums, as well as Smithy then in P16 in the Kick Sauber. San then opting for the mediums, unfortunately for Ferrari, a difficult qualifying as they're in a bit of well, they're sandwiching vintage in the sandwich then of the Ferraris this time in the medium compound tyres for both of them as well. And Serious Mushroom then opting for the medium compound tyre as well to start off this Grand Prix. Fantastic. Right, we need to make sure we get the camera angle right so we can actually see the start lights this time, unlike Silver last night. But there we go, we're ready to get cracking then. Ultimate Beast has said good evening and everybody then, and good luck then. Let's have a good one out there today, says Beast as well then. And we will see how it's going to fare then in the next few seconds then, as we get the 5 red lights. DRS has been disabled, I can't see the 5 red lights. They're on now in Singapore then, and we're underway for bronze then. A good start indeed then from Luke, then trying to get himself alongside Rocket Lee, then in towards turn 1. We've got position changes already then, I can't see what's going on there. As we go into turn 1 then, it's all status quo then for the race leaders, the top 3. But we've got all sorts of movement from Mr. Elite and Jamie. Then Dan dropped down to P6. I see he's lost 2 places then to the Haas and to the Mercedes into the first couple of corners. Gaming Infinity to try and get himself past Jake the Slayer here as well. Then goodness me, it's close indeed. Then Dynamo Dan has lost 2 places off the start as well. Then goodness me, there's all sorts of action as well. Goddard has lost 2 places on the hard compound tires as we head into sector 2 then. And yeah, there's all sorts of cars all over the place there as well. Then Dynamo Dan and Jake the Slayer are switching places as we go through into turn 6. Then Jake the Slayer is ahead then of the Red Bull just about then. But now Ginger Age is going to be pushing him through into sector 2. There's all sorts of action down the back of the field. Unfortunately for Goddard, he's struggling on the hard compound tires in this opening lap. Of course, the hards are not going to be warmed up as quickly as the mediums, that is, but of course they will be going longer in this stint as well than we expect. The medium hards then is the predicted strategy then, but medium hard then is the other strategy as well. They're not quite sure the 2 stops can be working around here that well then, but we will find out then. Luke and Rocket Lee have powered off then, and Jinner has had an issue because he's lost the DRS already then on the top 2 then. That is going to be formidable then if the top 2 can keep that gap though, and Jinner might have something to say about that then. Still in the next part of the lap into sector 3 we go then to finish off the first lap of the Grand Prix. And wow, action-packed then to start with, and fantastic racing as well then off the first lap as well then. Usually it can be a bit well, let's just say it can be a bit difficult then in the first lap around Singapore, but so far so good then, as Rocket Lee sets the fastest lap of the race. Then Jimmy has got himself back in contention with the DRS now activated then into lap 2 then, and I think he's going to get himself back into that 1 second window as well, going through the first couple of turns as well here then, and I think he has done very good stuff indeed then from Jinner then to try and keep that fight on then, and the train alive then as we go through into lap 2 then. Very close indeed between all drivers as well out there. They're flying through the first couple of laps here in status quo then, and unfortunately though, as here comes Luke then on the attack then into turn 5 I should say then. He's almost pushing Rocket Lee through the corner then, but Jinner then has dropped back out of that 1 second window as well then. So Luke's got a lot of straight line speed, or Rocket Lee as well has got some rocket straight line speed as well. Then we've seen some rocket straight line speed, or rocket speed overall from Rocket to get the pole position of course, but he has done a fantastic job then and controlling the pace out in front now as well then. No dirty air to try and contend with, especially through this sector then for Rocket Lee, which is going to be very good stuff indeed. Very good, very much music to his ears I imagine then, because as you can see there, drifting through the final part of the hairpin then for Luke then, that can be very difficult for your tyres with all the dirty air that's kicking off the car in front then. If you're stuck in a train then there's even more dirty air then with all the cars flying through ahead of you as well then. Rocket Lee then, Jinner's got himself back in contention as well then. Jamie's dropped out of the DRS range of Mr. Elite then, so now the roles are reversed then. Mr. Elite is powered on down the road, and unfortunately with Jamie then he's lost out to that 1 second window then, which is going to be costly indeed, because Dan is looking to get himself back up a place then very quickly indeed as well then, heading into lap 3 momentarily. DeCanco and Mushroom have switched places then. Mushroom up into P18 then. They've lost a lot of time doing that though. They've lost 2 seconds to the top 17 who are flying through then onto lap 3 now as well. There we go then, fantastic stuff indeed. What a start then from Serious Mushroom as well. They're flying up 2 places then, 2 places gained for Gaming Infinity as well then, and for Smithy then in P14, but not too many movers and shakers at this point of the race. Jamie then is 1.8 seconds back then. Dan might be looking to make a move here and thinking about it, going through. Oh dear, wow, that was close. Going through into turn 5, and Dan is up into P5 then as well then, flying through then. Oh, it looks like Jamie's coming back at him though into turn 6 then. Dan's got the inside, and oh, has he got the corner though? No, he hasn't then. He's gone too deep then as Dan, and then it's going to be costly indeed, because Jamie's still there. He's round the outside then. Jamie's got the move then for P5. Fantastic stuff indeed from Jamie as we head into lap 3 then, into sector 2 as well then. This is where you want to get make sure you're not stuck behind somebody then, and Jamie has got himself ahead of Dan to try and get that place back as well then. Good stuff from Jamie then, good battling then from both drivers, and we head on to the bridge then, over the bridge I should say then. 3 seconds though now the gap then. All that battling has cost them dearly, and Mr. Elite then Jinner, Luke and Rocket Lee are flying away then in the distance in the top 4 on lap 3. Of course, there's still a long way to go here in Singapore. Then it's of course, we've got rain on the forecast as well, potentially then, so we'll have to wait and see when that starts to fall as well here, because that could be problematic for all the strategies out there as well then. Heading through the final couple of corners then, Dan Dan's now stuck back behind Jamie then as we try and get themselves through. Then Jinner's got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Then he is flying out then, is Jinner, then into oh dear, wow, that's deep on the brakes then into turn 1 then. That might be a warning then for Jinner as well then, goodness me. Very late on the brakes then for Jinner. Mystery might be able to get some back in DRS range then. 3.6 seconds back to Jamie. Then he is struggling out there, unfortunately, for the Mercedes driver. Then Dan is looking to try and get a move once again then on the Mercedes, then in towards turn 5 with some DRS, then down towards down from turn 4 towards turn 5 here as well. Then here comes Dan on the charge. Is he close enough once again then to try and make the move? Then not quite. Then oh, yes, he is going for the move. Sorry, into turn 5. He's got the outside this time. He's got the move done this time, and he stays ahead. But he's again slow through the corner then, and that is going to entice Jamie to try and make the move back for P5 as well then. But Dan this time has made it stick then for that 5th position and is ahead now of the Mercedes, but 4 seconds the gap now to the top 4. That is going to be quite a gap then to try and close in then in the next part of the lap as well, the next few laps I should say. But he's going to have to hope that the top 3 start to battle then. They might be looking to think very carefully, or top 4 sorry, should start to battle then, and they might have to be thinking very carefully about what they're going to be doing next in terms of keeping the status alive then in the top of the order there. But fantastic stuff indeed from the top 4 then. Different constructors then lead the way at the top then as well. Then it's all the way down to P6 then, different constructors as well. Then fantastic to see. Styles then is trying to put the pressure on Jamie as well as we go through then into lap 5 momentarily there. We've got Winnie then on the hard compound tyre, who is well, he's doing a good, oh he's not, oh I've just cursed him. I'm very sorry, Winnie then. Oh dear, as Gaming Infinity then losing the back end going through the chicane there. But Winnie then, I was just saying, he's doing a fantastic job on the hard compound tyres actually. But just as I say that, he's got a 3-second penalty, the first penalty of the evening on lap 5 then for the Aston Martin. Penalties can be quite easy to pick up around here then, with track limits then are, well, track limits just easy to pick up around here. Let's just say that then, because I don't want to say too much because I'm going to get too many penalties next time I race around here. But there we go. So far so good then, 4 seconds the gap then. Dan then can Jamie make a move then for that P5 position, then heading into sector 2, then he's too far back I think then to make a move. Then Dan harvesting energy there, and that is probably why he's a bit slow out of this corner as well. Then that could open the door for Jamie once again, but not quite this time, and Jamie then stays P6 for the time being. Then Winnie then is in this trade as well behind Dan, then they're 4 seconds adrift of the top 4 as it stands as well there. We've got Imabra then trying to hold on to that final points paying position, but he's under pressure from San as well here. Mushroom is trying to join the fight as well. Then Goddard's unfortunately on the hard compound tyres, struggling then on those hard compounds, but of course it will potentially come back to him in the next few laps or so. Then when those mediums start to drop off, then the hard compound tyre will be the better tyre to be on in terms of the longevity of the tyre compound itself then. And what he needs to do is try and keep going, then stick at it then, and of course that time will come back to him then, of course, in the next parts of the next few laps I should say, goodness me, next part of the race. In the lead of the Grand Prix we've got Rocket Lee then storming off then in the distance there. Well, not quite just yet, because he's being held back by Luke then. Luke is trying to hold on to that race leader then as well as we go through into lap 6 now. Ginger Rage has got a 3-second rate of the second driver then with penalties tonight so far, but like I was saying, penalties are going to be quite easy to come by then around this circuit. Then Winnie has got himself past Styles as well here. Winnie up into P7 now on the charge on the hard compound tyre as well. Then maybe we're seeing that the medium compound tyres are starting to drop off already. Then Styles, goodness me, then very late on the brakes there compared to Winnie, that is. But Winnie then I think trying to get those hard compound tyres slowed down into the corners as well. Maybe a bit struggling at this point then compared to the medium compound tyres, which will probably be still in their prime I suppose you could say. But of course will start to drop off a lot quicker than the hard compound then. There we go then, good stuff indeed. We've got a battle on for the final points paying position. Here comes San, here comes a serious Mushroom. Then goodness me, there's well, I'm not sure if that was lag or if that was just me, but San then has got P15 sorry, ahead of the Umabro for the time being, that is, as Serious Mushroom has joined the fight as well. Then San then up into the points paying positions. We've had somebody else moving and shaking as well, but I'm not quite sure who it was then. It was I'm not sure who it was at all, to be fair, but there we go. As Jamie's having a bit of an issue then over the bridge there, and that could open the door for Winnie. Winnie then is right on the gearbox of that Mercedes heading down the Raffles Boulevard now. Here comes the Aston Martin, and Jamie's got DRS just about then on the escaping Alpine of Dan, but Jamie's gone a bit wide then, and that could open the door once again then for Winnie. Then they've lost Jamie's lost DRS. Sorry, I can't get any words out here. Winnie's going to try and go down the outside into the final chicane. Not going to be happening then, I think, for Jamie. Jamie. And goodness me, there's contact then going through into this exit of the chicane as well. Then my goodness me, now we've got a fight on our hands. Then Winnie's trying to get himself past the Mercedes here, who's struggling then unfortunately, and down the inside in towards turn 1. Then we'll have a view from the Haas behind us into turn 1. Then has he got the move stuck? Then not quite. Oh dear, there's Mercedes off the side. Oh god, there's Gaming Infinity's hit Styles. Then Styles has had a spin. Then he's got himself going again quickly enough. But my goodness me, down to P14 for Styles. Then Gaming Infinity then I think might be under investigation for that then, because that is well, we don't tolerate, it's not a contact sport really, is it? So that's probably why. But Slayer then has got himself up into P8, then passing the Williams as well. Then Dynamo Dan's trying to go around the outside here, goodness me, and he has made the move stick. Then Gaming Infinity then under pressure then as well. Then God, Danger Rage is trying to go for a move as well then, as we head into turn 6 and now turn 7. Then Dynamo Dan's gone for a spin as well. Then Dynamo Dan's off the circuit there, or not, he's not off the circuit really, he's what's he doing? He's just driving into the wall then, is Dynamo Dan then, unfortunately. He's got himself going once again then, but has lost himself a lot of places because of that as well. Then what happened there into turn 7, that is. Has he got damage as well there to try and sort out then on that Red Bull? We'll have to find out now, but that could be problematic indeed then for Dynamo Dan. We've got, I think it was Styles then who had an issue as well then, but Styles is caught up already then with the pace then of the Haas then, as we've got to get ourselves into sector 3 on lap 7 then. But Styles then has lost out, that was that 4 places then to the Williams of Gaming Infinity as we head through then into lap 7. Then Styles then is going to have to do a bit of a recovery job in this race then, but so far he's recovered very quickly indeed to get himself back in the DRS then of the McLaren of Astro John then, and on the brink then of the top 10 as well already. So far, so good then. Where is the rain? We'll have to wait and see then. Into the pits comes Dynamo Dan. He has got damage then on that left end plate, unfortunately, then for the Red Bull. Into the box he goes then to service that Red Bull car then and get that sorted as quickly as possible then. Potentially, if there is rain on the forecast, then towards the end of the Grand Prix, which is what we've been predicted, that is, or what we've been forecast, potentially the hard compound tyres from here then will be a good shout then for Dynamo Dan. Away he goes then in this race then. Styles and Astro John are switching places then up into P13, or P12 I should say, goes Styles. Goodness me, Astro John then kept his nose in there then, unfortunately that was always going to close then, and Styles then has got himself up into P12 now, passing the McLaren. Then here comes Serious Mushroom and Umabro into the same corner, not quite then, and Umabro stays in the points paying positions for the time being. Of course, if you're new to bronze then it's points down to P15 this season, that is. Wow, and he's gone for it then as Mushroom then, and Goddard's is waiting in the wings as well then for any shenanigans then, but Mushroom has got himself through then up into P15. Fantastic stuff indeed then, goodness me. All action then down the order then in bronze tonight then on lap 8 then. So far so good then. Out in front then it's all status quo in the top 4 then. They've decided to calm down then, and Dynamo Dan's got a 3-second penalty then for cutting the corner I should say then, heading into well, that's a bit of an odd place to corner cut then, into turn 8 wasn't it, or turn 6 sorry, but yes, nonetheless then unfortunately that penalty then will be added onto your race time at the end of the Grand Prix then, as we've got Jamie in the pit lane. Jamie is in the pits and he is calling it a day on the medium compound tyres at the end of lap 8 then. Ginger Rage has got himself past Gaming Infinity then into turn 1 and 2, and now up into P8 then for Ginger Rage then. Can he chase after his teammate then? Can he stay within DRS of his teammate to pull himself along then out of the fight then with Gaming Infinity, with Smithy, with Hungry Styles and Astro John as well now. Here we go then, onto the back straight. He has got DRS as well. Then he's going to pull up closer to his teammate Object the Slayer and try and protect that P8 position then for the time being, heading into turn 5 then. He's gone wide though, and same for Gaming Infinity behind him as well, heading into turn 6 next as well. Then this is going to be a very close fight for the top 10 positions. We've got not a very close fight to be fair, because it's just sort of status quo out the top then, with Rocket League, with Luke, then with Jinner and with Mr. Elite then heading through the hairpin now on lap 9, and fair play indeed to the top 4 there. They've been absolutely fantastic. Dan is 4 seconds behind. He's bringing that gap down then, but unfortunately then without DRS then to play with as well around this lap, then he is just starting to struggle then at this point then, and the tyres then will be taking a beating as well at this point of the race. Winnie then is looking to close in then. He's currently in P6 now on the hard compound tyres. We would expect Goddard's then and his Red Bull teammate then of Dynamo Dan then to try and get that gap down as well. Then Jamie has come out in P19 on a fresh set of medium compound tyres, so he's gone medium then, has Jamie then. That's a very interesting call then from the Mercedes driver. Does that mean there's going to be some rain on the forecast or on the horizon then in the next few laps or so potentially? We might see the rain falling a bit earlier. Then we've got Rocket Lee, who has got himself out of the DRS then of Luke as well here. Oh no, Luke's back in it. Never mind then. So I thought he had, but not quite then. As through the final corner then Luke has just, through the fourth corner, Luke has just got himself back in that 1 second window as well. Then that was close indeed. Then Rocket Lee was rocketing away once again then, it looked like then, but Luke has been able to try and control him for the time being then, but Rocket Lee looking very quick indeed in this last part of the lap as well there. And now, maybe those tyres are starting to get a bit squiffy then, because goodness me, wow, Mr. Elite, that was dodgy. That was very late on the brakes. That has cost both of them time as well there. Jinner then has lost out to the DRS range then, and Mr. Elite could be about to drop out of the DRS then of Jinner as well, then heading through over the Anderson Bridge as well here. Goddard has got himself up into P16, passing Sand then into the into sector 2, I should say then. Now trying to chase down the next Ferrari of DeCanco then for that final points paying position as it stands then. Don Madan back underway then, unfortunately then has lost a bit of time. Then we've got yellow flags then for Vintage. It's Vintage at the at turn, where is that? The same place as Dynamo Dan then went off as well then, goodness me. And wow, what's happened then to Vintage, and has he got damage as well then in the Alpine? It looks okay from the front wing point of view, but yes, maybe there's some damage to the Pride, but he's still soldiering on out there. Fair play indeed as well then. That is, well, it's not good news unfortunately for Vintage then, but at least he's still going then in this Grand Prix then, rounding the hairpin. Now he's got Jamie then, who's just pitted for another set of medium compound tyres. Jamie will have to pit again then, unless it starts to rain then, as Smith the Almighty has dropped down behind Astrojohn and Styles there. Not sure if there was an issue there as well. Then Gaming Infinity's got a 10-second penalty, 3-second penalty then, crossing into lap 11 as well then. Styles back up into the top 10 now. He's passed Astrogon, he's passed Smithy then. Not quite sure what happened to Smithy there, if there was a mistake or if there was some sort of issue then as well. But there we go then. We've got a change for the leaders. Rocket Lee has lost the lead then for the first time in this Grand Prix. Then Luke then back into the top spot then. Of course, he's familiar with the top spot then after being there for the first 12 rounds of the season. Dan then took out away then in Monza then as well. He's now 3.6 seconds behind. Dan is catching actually, and he's caught by half a second or so in the last lap or so as well. Then Dan is on the charge. Yellow flags for a Ferrari then. Goodness me, what's happened then? San has had an issue then at the exit of turn 4. Then he's trying to get himself back underway, but he's dropped down. He's got wing damage there as well for San, unfortunately then for the Ferrari. Then it's not good news then in Singapore for Ferrari as it stands then for San then as he goes through into sector 2 then. Unfortunately that car will not be too good then, as San has crashed into the wall there as well then. And it's a virtual safety car here as well then. My goodness me, then that is that is not good news then for anybody out there, I don't think. Potentially those on the medium compound tyres might be able to pit now, but yeah, unfortunately for San then it's not going his way then tonight there. To be fair, the VSC, if it stays out for a longer time, will be able to help him, but yes, it's just not looking too good then. Out in the lead, we've got Luke coming into the pit lane now from the race leader. He's got a 2-second gap to Rocket Lee then. Fantastic stuff indeed from Luke then. He has stormed off in the distance under that VSC somehow, but there we go then. Dynamo Dan will be able to catch up a bit there as well then with this VSC then. Who is staying out? Winnie is staying out then on the hard compound tyres. Will Goddard's do the same thing then? We'll have to wait and see. Will Dynamo Dan do the same thing as well then? We'll find out then as those sorts of pit stops then. 10 seconds for Styles speeding in the pit lane. Oh my goodness me, you don't want to speed in the pit lane around here. It is not good news then, as round sector 3 we go then for San then, but yeah, everyone into the pit lane, pouring into the pit lane as well here. We go through then to finish off the lap then for San and Dynamo Dan. Then the VSC still out though, which is good news. Then Goddard has carried on. Then he's up into P8 now as well. Then ahead of Dan, who's now put for fresh intermediate into fresh wet compound tyres. Dynamo Dan's got a drive through for speed under the VSC, and it's gone away now as well. Then San is in the pit lane. Marbro's coming out of the pit lane now as well. Then DeCanco also in the pits. Then unfortunately the VSC didn't stay out long enough for all of them as well. We've got penalties for everybody out there. Then is there drive-through penalties for everybody out there? No, it's 3 seconds. That's okay then. Unfortunately for Styles and Mushroom, I think they got 10-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane. San is also in the pits for the hard compound tyres now, and back underway then. Dynamo Dan's got a drive-through penalty to serve as well, unfortunately then for the Red Bull. Then he's stayed out, of course, on his hard compound tyres, having pit only 4 laps ago. Out in the lead then, the top 3 have stayed out then. Luke then is into P1, or net P1 I should say, then 1.6 seconds back is Rocket Lee then. Unfortunately he lost the lead just at the wrong time then when that VSC, just before that VSC came out then. Jinner all over the back of him. Mr. Elite then in P7, a net P4 of course, with the top 3 yet to pit in this Grand Prix as well. We've got Goddard's then up into P8 now, and of course that is technically a net P5, but he is yet to pit as well in this Grand Prix, but we'll be able to go a bit longer on those hard compound tyres compared to Gaming Infinity and Ginger Rage, you would imagine that is. Jamie then opted not to pit in that VSC as well. Then he pitted for the medium compound tyres 3 laps ago then, but he has done medium so far in this Grand Prix as well there. Into the pits comes Gaming Infinity, then he is calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres. Then a lap later then, where will he come out as well? Then Dynamo Dan has passed to Kanko then for P17 just about then. Yes, he has got himself through, passing the Ferrari then as well. Then Umabra then is right behind us as well. And Gaming Infinity onto the hard compound tyre then is coming through down the pit lane exit. Then it will come out behind Astrojon and Styles. Then Styles looking for a move down the inside of turn 1, not quite on then. Smithy has got himself out ahead of the Williams as well. Then Vintage coming through is going to be behind Mushroom now, and Mushroom up into the points paying positions here as well. Then Gaming Infinity right in front of him as well. Then on a 1 lap fresher hard compound tyres, but can get those tyres warmed up. Then is the next phase then for Gaming Infinity. Sorry. Styles passing Astrojon then into turn 5. Once again, the Haas spinning ahead of the McLaren as well now. But that penalty then is going to be costly indeed. We've got penalties, I think, then for quite a few drivers stacking up out there as well. Then Jamie's got himself ahead of Slayer then. Oh dear, what's happened there then? Dan is putting pressure on Goddard, and Goddard is all over the place then into the hairpin. Wow. That is a very different racing line for sure then, but there we go then. He's on older tyres, that's probably why. Then here comes Dan trying to make a move then into sector 3. Then can he get the move down the inside then for the Alpine? Yes, he can, but can Goddard's try and switch back? But on the fresher tyres then Dan has held on to that P7 position then, up into P7 now, and looking to try and charge on as well here. Will we see some more pit stops then? Ginger Rage is in the pits as well now, calling it a day on the medium compound tyre, sorry. Rocket Lee sets the fastest lap of the race. Rocket Lee has flown back up to the DRS then of Luke then. Unbeknownst to me, I completely missed it. They've got a 10-second gap to Winnie, who is still out then on the hard compound tyres, and Ginger Age will be in the pit lane. We've got a yellow flag then. It's for somebody out there who has had a problem then. It's DeCanco's off the circuit then at sector 3. Looks like he almost had a brake failure there. He almost went straight on, it looked like. Ginger Rage, sorry, jumping out the pit lane. Where is he jumping out the pit lane in the order, that is? He will be ahead. Will he be ahead then of Gaming Infinity and Mushroom? It's close indeed. There he is then on the exit of turn 2 then, and he's ahead then of the Williams, just about there. It's close indeed as well then. My goodness me, then Mushroom is involved here. Here is Gaming Infinity, then Ginger Rage is ahead of his train, but of course does not have DRS now down towards turn 5. Then here we are then for Mushroom, for Gaming Infinity then. They're trying to make a move then on the Racing Bull. Oh my goodness me, that's a late move then to defend there as we go into turn 5 then, as we go through that turn 5, and Ginger Rage has gone wide then as well. My goodness me, there's all sorts of action here down the for the final points paying position almost. Well, it's quite a bit higher than that, never mind. As San has retired, he's in the pit lane, I think, there. So unfortunately for San, then he is quitting the pit lane, unfortunately for the Ferrari. Then first driver of retirement then of the session then on lap 14, soon to be 15 then for Winnie as we fly through the final corner now then for the Aston Martin. Then unfortunately it's not going too well then. Go Luke, says Fink. Does anyone know the standings roughly then? Yes, Dan is on 196 points. Luke is on 182, I believe. And Gino was on 147, but I remember that bit, but there we go. And so yeah, Luke then is looking to get himself back in contention then for the championship lead then, but unfortunately then, as it stands, I think he would still be P2 then in terms of the points positions then. Of course, Winnie is yet to pit in this Grand Prix. I forgot about that, to be fair. So Luke would be leading the Grand Prix as it stands as well. He's a net P1 then. Ginger Range's got a 3-second penalty then, unfortunately then, trying to go through the final couple of corners then. Into the pits comes Mushroom, which is a bit odd. He's what's happening here for Mushroom? He's calling it a day then as well then, as Mushroom only on the 3-lap old hard compound tyres, which is a bit strange there, but maybe he's got some damage to try and sort out as well here. But no, he's serving the penalty with his Mushroom then. But yeah, a bit of an odd one that. Maybe he's going for the medium compound tyre. But yes, very odd indeed, but fair enough. We crack on then as we go through, and 7 seconds the gap then. Luke is taking chunks out of Winnie's time then as we go through. Then of course Luke is on much fresher hard compound tyres, as is Rocket Lee behind him. Then they've dropped Jenna, they've dropped Mr. Elite by 3 seconds as well. Mr. Elite was hanging on then on the medium stint then to the top 3 then, or the net top 3 now. Mushroom out of the pit lane then on the medium compound tyres in P19, unfortunately then for Mushroom. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he served the penalty at least and got that out of the way, and can now crack on with his race as well. Then Rocket Lee then is trying to rocket past Mr. Elite, sorry, rocket past Luke then, as Winnie is in the pit lane now. So early, very well. I think it's an early stop to be fair from the hard compound tyres for Winnie, but he is calling it a day then on the hard compound, then onto the medium compound then for the Aston Martin. Then let's see where he's going to come out. Then is he going to be ahead of Goddard's is the question. It might not be. I think he might be behind this train, then behind Jake the Slayer, but maybe he'll just about get ahead of Styles potentially. It's going to be close indeed on the pit exit then for Winnie. Then needs to get himself powered along then out of this very difficult. Turn 1 and 2 then for the pit exit. He is ahead then of the Haas just about then. Round the outside goes Styles then, and that's unfortunately just not on then from either driver there, and both of them have stopped on circuit as well then. Fantastic. Winnie then has cracked on then. Styles then has decided to stop then on track as well then. But there we are, unfortunately then. That is exactly what you can call a move that's just not there really. Unfortunately, it's a 50-50 move, isn't it? One that can go your way then and can go like that. Unfortunately, that is not good news for Styles then, who seems to be unimpressed with that. Let's just say that. DeCanco in the pit lane as well then. DeCanco's got, he's missing both end plates then for DeCanco. He's got himself onto a new set of boots then, medium compound tyres going on then, and a fresh front wing and a fresh set of boots then for DeCanco, and a back underway. Unfortunately dropping down to P19 then. Not Rocket Lee. Luke leads the way then, lap 16 then. Hungry Styles has been passed by Yumabra then up into P14 then for the Mercedes. Been good stuff indeed. Goddard's then dropping down the field. Unfortunately then he's not pitted yet as Goddard's then. He's on the hard compound tyres. 10-second wait for Styles for corner cutting then. And Jake the Slayer up into P7 now. Good stuff indeed. Can he chase down Jamie then for that P6 then? Jake the Slayer then is looking to chase down the Jamie then for that P6. We've got yellow flags again then for somebody else out there. It's DeCanco again then. Has he gone off the circuit again? Unfortunately, doesn't look like it. Maybe he's just slowing down to try and get out of the way then of cars coming through. Then Winnie's got a 3-second penalty then. Goodness me, Winnie is trying to claim all the penalties tonight then. Goddard's is in the pit lane for medium compound tyres. End of lap 16 then onto lap 17 then for the Red Bull driver then. Where will he come out then? I think he might be behind Yumabro here. And yeah, he will be. Styles then is also carrying on then. I think Styles, has he got damaged? He has. He's lost the right end plate then for Styles. Goddard's coming out then in P15. It will be ahead of Dynamo Dan then. Well, ahead of his team, I should say then. But there we go then. Unfortunately for Mushroom, Vintage, DeCanco and Dynamo Dan, it is a question of just soldiering on in this race and hoping for a safety car or something like that. Then Ginger Age, goodness me, is battling with Gaming Infinity. And wow, it's close then into turn 6. And there we go then. Well, status quo for those two then, as they need to make sure they don't battle too hard, because Yumabro has no penalties and is 12 seconds behind. Goddard's has passed Styles then, has he yet, on his medium compound tyres then, up into P14 then for the Red Bull. Storming on then in the Red Bull as well then. Good stuff indeed. Now the freshest tyres of the field then for Goddard's. Let's see where he can go on those medium compound tyres then. Out in front, Rocket Lee is trying to chase down Luke still for that lead of the Grand Prix onto lap 18 here in Singapore. So far so good then. And we will find out now. Luke then leading the race, I should say, then is going to be scoring 25 points, as it stands. Dan is scoring 10 then. In terms of the championship permutations, I think that puts Luke back ahead then. I'll quickly check. But I think that is looking pretty promising stuff indeed then for Luke then, if it stays this way, that is, of course. There is still laps to go then in this Grand Prix, but the gap is 14 points then. As it stands, Luke is getting 15 points more than Dan here, and that could put him back in the lead of the championship then by only 1 point then to Luke as well. Then that is going to be very close indeed, heading into the third final round, I should say then, of the Mystery Grand Prix, which could be Mexico, Brazil or Las Vegas in a week's time. But so far so good then for Luke then, getting himself back in contention after one difficult race then. It has been costly then. Styles then is parked at the pit entry and has finally got himself sorted and into the pit lane now to get himself into the box then to sort out that front wing hopefully and get himself back underway. Then Luke then and Rocket Lee then storming off into the distance. Then Jinner has lost a bit of time on this lap as well there to the top two. Then Mr. Elite is just holding down that P4 then. If anything goes awry then for the top three, then of course Mr. Elite will get himself into the podium places. Then Dan will be hoping that he can get himself past Mr. Elite and reclaim that P4 position then, but also to hold on to the championship lead as well. Ginger Rage and Gaming Infinity then once again then battling then through into sector 3 this time then, and Ginger Age is ahead this time of the Williams as well, going through into sector 3 then, up into P11 now for the Ginger Age. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres than Gaming Infinity, then 12 seconds back to Yumabra, then into the pits comes Styles, then medium compound tyres going on the Haas as well here. Fantastic stuff. indeed then, as we go through back into off the standings now and back to the comment section. So good stuff indeed then. Gaming Infinity has picked up a 3-second penalty then as well, as unfortunately then, as like I said, penalties are definitely rolling in around here. Goodness me, that's a late move indeed, I should say then, but he does, I think he was just trying to fake out Ginger Rage, who's been league racing for long enough to know that he's not interested in that sort of thing. He knows exactly what he's doing out there, does Ginger Rage, of course. Yeah. I'm not sure, to be fair, but there we go. So Styles then is Styles is causing the yellow flag. Then you think he's just letting people through there. Smithy's past Astrodron then into turn 5. Then he's ahead now up into P8. Then in the kick salver. Of course, thankfully he's racing tonight. Then unfortunately had some family issues to deal with then yesterday as well. Then for Silver, but fair enough then for Smithy. Then hopefully everything is a-okay now. But he is up into P8. Then looking to score some points then for the kick salver team. Then in the Constructors Championship, then they are looking very strong indeed. Of course, leading the way then by with 291 points. And looking to extend that gap as well then to the Haas team and of course to the Alpine team in P3. But there we go. Now into the final corner then to start off lap 20 of 31 then. We're almost at the 2/3 distance, that is, but my voice is already going then, as you can tell, but I've done 2 nights of commentary in a row then, but that's why. Winnie passing Astra John then for that P9 position then, has got himself up in the P9, splitting the Kick Sauber and the McLaren for the time being as well then, as we head into the final couple of corners then of their lap 19 onto lap 20 as well here then. Rocket Lee is still right behind then, and Jinner is actually caught up then. Jinner is now 1.2 seconds behind then, is closing in then is Jinner, as I think the top 2, if they start to battle, then Jinner could be brought back into this fight as well here, potentially that is. But not quite. Well, yes, he could be actually. Was Rocket Lee's had an issue somewhere there. Rocket Lee has had an issue somewhere there, and he has lost a lot of time then to Luke then, and that has brought Jinner back into the 1 second window as well here, and that could be well, it could be problematic. Then it's not going to be problematic for Jinner. Then he's going to be very happy with that because he is now going to be able to use some DRS to try and save some fuel, save some battery, and mount a charge potentially then towards the end of the Grand Prix then. But we've still got quite a few laps to go here in Singapore. Gaming Infinity and Ginger Age once again resuming their battle here as well then. Fantastic battles indeed then between Ginger Age and Gaming Infinity so far, and looking good indeed then. That pink helmet is very luminescent then as we go through sector 2 now for Ginger Age then. Very bulbous and bright then for Ginger Age then. Fantastic. Winnie then is on the medium compound tyres then, looking to get himself past Smithy then. How far can he get then is the question on those medium compound tyres. There's a couple of more places to be gained then with Jake the Slayer and Jamie then in P7 and P6 then, only a few seconds up the road then, but of course there's quite a big gap then to the top 5 now, and Dan is trying to close in on Mr. Elite here into the final couple of corners. Can he get himself in that 1 second window then with some DRS to play with as well then, on to lap 21 then of 31 here. Penalty situation then, 6 for Winnie then. That would cost him a P9 position, I should say, to Astrodron, who's right behind him then in terms of the DRS then as well. But as we go through then to finish off lap 20 for them as well, then here comes Winnie on the attack, and then can he pass Smithy then in towards turn 1. He's harvesting energy then as we go into the first turn. He stays behind for the time being, that is as well then. But there is the penalty situation then. Gaming Infinity then and Ginger Age have got 6 seconds each as well then. They are quite comfortable in terms of holding on to those places though, because there's quite a gap then back to Umabra, who's P13 at the moment. Goddard is on the charge. He's got 3 seconds, but he's on the charge on the medium compound tyres then, and looking to try and get himself up a few places as well. Then Dynamo Dan's back in the points paying positions here as Winnie has passed Smithy then for P8 as well. Then Jinner's picked up a penalty then. Goodness me, Jinner's picked up a penalty and going through into sector 2 in the Singapore Sling, it looked like there as well. Then all the top 3 are split away then from each other as well, but there's no DRS to play with then for Rocket Lee or for Jinner as we head into sector 3 then. Serious Russian, just as I was saying, that has passed Dynamo Dan's in the pit lane then once again then. So it's more medium compound tyres then for Dynamo Dan there. Serious Brushman's got himself back in the points paying positions now. Good stuff indeed. Dynamo Dan's opted for the fresh medium compound tyres, coming out then in P17. Unfortunately, I think for Ducanco and for Styles, they've both been lapped then by the top of the order then as well. Then Luke then leads the way onto lap 22. Then he's got 1.4 second gap. Then Jinner has caught up to Rocket Lee. Then Rocket Lee's got a bit of a gap then to try and get himself back in that DRS then of Luke then. But as we go through the first couple of corners, then Ginger Age picks up a penalty, unfortunately, into the third sector, I should say. But there's a bit of a queue for. No, it's not a queue there. It's a queue. Where is the queue? Where is he? There he is. As he goes through, he's right behind Gaming Infinity then to finish off lap 21 then for the Williams and the Racing Bull as we cross into lap 22. And here we go then. Here comes the attack then from the Racing Bull then heading into turn 1. He's harvesting energy as well then, going into the first turn then, and not quite then. He stays behind for the time being. Then, of course, the optimal of taking place, I think, is in towards turn 5. But that's where the straight is longer. Then there's more DRS to play with. Then there's more straight line speed to play with as well there. As Jake the Slayer has been passed by Winnie. Then, speaking of straight line speed, then here comes Winnie. Then here comes Smithy as well. Then passing then for P8 as well. Jake the Slayer losing 2 places, unfortunately, there in the first, in one straight, I should say. Goodness me, then Luke, Winnie and the kicks out of Smithy then looking to mount a charge, and Winnie flying through then. He's now got 1.4 seconds to try and catch up to Jamie as well there. We've got Jenna then going for the lead, not for the lead, sorry, for the P2 tonight, I should say, on track, that is. But of course, there is penalties then to come. Then Jin has got a 3-second penalty for track extensions there, which will be added to his race time as well. And so if Rocket League can just stay within that 3 seconds then of the McLaren, then he will be comfortable to get that P2 position back. But unfortunately, I think Rocket League wants that P1 position back, doesn't he? But Luke then has just stepped onto another gear then. Look at him go. Then he's 2.5 seconds ahead now. He is flying out there, is Luke, and looking to regain that championship lead then. But Dan, if Dan can get past Mr. Elite then, and the order stays the same as it is now, then if Dan can pass Mr. Elite first, and the order stays the same, then that will mean that Dan stays in the race, in the championship lead, I should say, for the order. Then as we got Jamie into the pit lane, Jamie's done 2 stints then on the medium compound tyres, which is impressive to say the least then, but unfortunately it's not worked out too well then for the Mercedes driver. What's it going to be next for the Mercedes? It's hard compound tyres going on then. Out of the pit lane he comes now. Will he be behind his teammate? It'll be close indeed, I think, on the exit there, between the Mercedes pair then as well. Goddard's then is pushing Mabro then through the final couple of corners, then heading on to lap 23. Yellow flags out there, I think, for Star, then just getting out of the way as well once again. Then here comes Goddard's then trying to get himself past Mabro into turn 1. Then he has done it, although he's gone very deep then, has Goddard's. Then goodness me, where's he gone then? And he's lost out to both Mercedes there as well then, my goodness me. Mushroom then P15 in the points paying positions, then 30 seconds back is Dynamo Dan on the freshest tyres of the field, apart from Jamie, that's his, but of course Jamie's on the hard compound tyre. He's done medium hard then, has Jamie, which is a very odd strategy call, but fair enough indeed. And here comes Goddard trying to get himself past Jamie, who's just come out of the pit lane as well, trying to get those hard compound tyres warmed up then, and Goddard has got himself back up into P13 then, passing the Mercedes then of Jamie. Then can he get himself after Mabro, who is his next target as well out of there. Dynamo Dan set the fastest lap of the race then, good stuff indeed. Then that's going to be an extra point then, regardless of where you finish, so long as you make sure you do finish the race, that is. Lap 24 then, and wow, not Rocket League, sorry, it's lap 24 then, and Luke has stormed off into an almost 5-second lead out here then, and that is fantastic pace indeed then. That is championship winning pace, let's just say that as well then, and currently then looking to regain that championship lead as well then. But wow, Mr. Elite then and Dan, having said that, Mr. Elite and Dan are flying along as well then, and they are catching up to Jinna and to Rocket Lee as well here. There could be a massive fight on for P2 here tonight then. Dan doesn't have to worry too much, because he's going to gain a place then now with Jinna's penalty then being 3 seconds added to his race time, so he will gain that P4 position then at this moment in time, that is. Wow, it's going to be very tense indeed then towards the end as well here, because as we fly through then, Jamie and Umabro are switching places then. Jamie on the fresh tyres, of course, as well then. I think Umabro is in the pit lane, yes he is then, as Astrotron has passed Jake the Slayer as well then into turn 5. The McLaren now up into P8 as well here, good stuff indeed. We've got Umabro in the pit lane for medium compound tyres, very odd stuff indeed then, because I thought the hard compound tyres would be easily go to the end of the Grand Prix from here. He will lose out to Mushroom. But regain that points paying position then in P15, I think, just about then. It's going to be close, as Dynamo Dan then coming through to finish off lap 23, then on to lap 24 for the Red Bull then in the background there, as we can see Umabra coming out then in P15. Down the order then we've got all sorts of chopping and changing then in the top of the order, I should say then. We've got Jinna then, who is now just outside of that 1 second window then. Has he got himself back in DRS then onto the main straight? Yes he has, but Mr. Elite is 1.8 seconds behind. Dan now is closing in then on the Haas as well, then heading into lap 25. There's only 6 laps to go in this Grand Prix. My goodness me, fantastic. But there we are then, as we go through then to finish off this fantastic Singapore Grand Prix. It's been epic stuff indeed. One retirement unfortunately in the pit lane with San then, who had a bit of damage there, and it cost him as well then, as Jamie's picked up a penalty as well. Then Jamie's on the hard compound tyres. He is now behind Goddard's as we go through then into the chicane. Not quite then, looking to shape for a move then, maybe trying to distract the Rebel then and see if he made a mistake then into that chicane, but not doing then, no doing I should say for Goddard's then. He has held on to that place very nicely indeed. Then here comes Jamie on the attack then. Winnie has been passed by Smithy, then Smithy's up into P6 I should say then. Goodness me, he's gone deep on the brakes. That could open the door for Winnie to go into turn 6, not quite. all he thinks about it, though. As Gaming Infinity and Ginger Age are once again battling again. Good stuff indeed. These two have been fantastic. Watching this battle has been brilliant then, actually, for the Racing Bull and the Williams then. We've had a penalty then for Rocket Lee then, and that is going to be problematic then for, for Luke then, in terms of holding on to the championship lead, or regaining the championship lead after one race, that is. But because Dan is going to be promoted then up 2 places then with the penalty situation, then up into the podium places then for Dan as well here. Penalties there are a nightmare around this circuit, as we found out, as quite a few drivers have found out around here as well. And so far, Rocket Lee then on to lap 26, then 5 laps remaining here in Singapore. Then the penalty situation is the situation here. Then 3 seconds for Rocket Lee and Jinner. They need to, Mr. Elite then and Dan need to catch back up then quickly enough then, because they need to try and keep within that 3-second window of the 2 ahead of them there as well. Then Smithy then up into P6. Then he's got Winnie for company, but Winnie's got 6 seconds of penalties. Then driver of the day is out in the comment section. Then Mr. Astra John, is P8 closing in then as well on Winnie. Jake the Slayer as well is right behind the McLaren, then heading into turn 1 on lap 26 as well. Then Gaming Infinity and Ginger Age are having a fantastic battle. Dan has passed Mr. Elite then. Oh, he's gone deep then as Dan. That's going to cost them more time as we go into turn 6 now. And Winnie's got another 3-second penalty then. Oh my goodness me, Mr. Elite almost into the back of the Alpine there. And all of that has cost them another few tenths of a second as well then to the top to the rest of the order then, the podium places. But they're still clicking on then. Winnie then is all over the back of Smithy. Then he's got 9 seconds of penalties now, unfortunately, then for Winnie. Astrodron then and Jake the Slayer keeping it clean and mean then as well. Then good stuff indeed. Gaming Infinity then has got 6 seconds of penalties. He's having a fantastic fight with Ginger Age. Jamie then is quite a far way back then, but he's currently got 3 seconds. Same for Godars as well then, but they're holding on to the points paying positions then still. Same for Dynamo Dan. He's got himself past Umabro for the time being, but if Umabro can just hold on then for the next few laps, then he can get himself that point paying position back as well then from Dynamo Dan. Brilliant stuff indeed then, and Jinner then is now all over the back of Rocket Lee. Then Dan is 2.4 seconds back then. Unfortunately for Dan then it's it's not looking too good out there. Then if Rocket Lee and Jinner then start working together as well, then potentially they could try and make that gap over 3 seconds to try and protect the podiums for both 2 drivers as well here, and stop Dan from getting himself on the podium at all then in this Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see then how it's going to fare then in the next 4 laps or so then as we go through. Then there is the tyre situation. Then we'll switch to the position changes as well then. Ginger Age unfortunately gets another penalty then. I don't think it will cost him at all, to be fair. But there we go then. Position changes then. Luke has gained a place then. Rocket Lee has dropped down from pole position 1 place as well then, but he might lose a couple more then if the penalties then start to add up then. But so far it is looking pretty good then. They've started to step on the gas then, have Jinner and Rocket Lee, and could be able to screech away then from the Alpine and the Haas behind them as well then. Smithy then up into P6 has gained 10 places then. Fantastic performance then from Smithy, and he is the most gaining places of the evening, let's just say that then. Winnie then in P7 then. Astrodron's gained 5 as well, then could gain an extra, will get an extra spot then from Winnie as well then with the penalty situation then for the Aston Martin then. Gaming Infinity then is in P10 then. Ginger Age P11, then Jamie, unfortunately, with a 2-stop strategy, then has not worked out then for the Mercedes driver, unfortunately. Godard's then in P13, has gained a place, then Mushrooms up 6 places from the back of the grid, then unfortunately, I heard the penalty situation then for the drivers ahead of him, then even with that, then I don't think he's going to be able to get himself another place or 2. Potentially he could do, we'll have to wait and see. Then Dynamo Dan is trying to hold on to the final points paying position then, but Umabro might have something to say about that as well then into the final few laps here as well then. Good stuff. Well, the gap was over 5 seconds then, and Luke has started to struggle here, I think, then, unless he's just trying to save some fuel, save some battery then for the final couple of laps there as well then. But Rocket Lee then has got that gap from over 5 seconds down to 3.4 now. It's coming back down then in favour of the Williams then. Potentially Rocket Lee could get himself a sighter then in the last few laps here in Singapore. Then lap 28 of 31 has commenced here. Your driver of the day candidates, Luke, Mr. Elite, Jinner and Dan are your candidates here then for the driver of the day positions here in Singapore. Fantastic stuff indeed, and we'll have a quick look at the position changes again then, just to make sure you're aware of what's going on then. Mystery and Dan status quo then for the time being, but of course we'll gain another place or 2 then, depending on the penalties then for Rocket Lee and Jinner as well. Then Rocket Lee has got himself out of DRS then of the McLaren and is storming off in the distance there as well. Then yellow flags. Oh dear, Jinner's had a problem then over the curves there as well. Then that could open the door then for Dan to get himself back in contention for sure then. I think there was a Ferrari then who had an issue then. It was DeCanco then coming through into the Singapore sling. Gaming Infinity and Ginger Age once again resuming their battle into sector 2. Gaming Infinity back up into P10 then, but it's been a race-long battle, I think, between these two. Epic stuff indeed. And hopefully Ginger Age is happy about this. I'm not quite sure. But yes, it's been fantastic to commentate on and to watch, to be fair, because each time we're looking at these two, they are, well, they're almost lying astern, let's just say that then. But it's been brilliant stuff indeed, and very good racing it looks like as well then from my point of view. Then from the comments box then, it's been good racing all around then in bronze tonight then as well. Then lap 29 has commenced then. Only 2 laps to go then after this one is complete then. And Rocket Lee then has got the gap under 3 seconds momentarily there as well. Then Rocket Lee is on a charge and looking very good indeed here. Potentially that lap car then was just getting out of the way then from Luke then, but yeah, I think he's doing very well then. Dan has got himself into DRS then with Jilla as well then. This could be promising stuff indeed. Rocket Lee has stormed off then. He's got a 3-second gap to Jilla, let alone Dan and Mr. Elite then. So Rocket Lee is looking to hold on to that P2 quite comfortably as it stands as well here. Powering past Vintage as well then into Sector 2 now, and looking very good indeed as well then. Winnie then is trying to hold on then to Smithy then. The penalty situation then for Winnie will demote him down a couple of places then to Slayer and Astrojohn then have not got penalties then in the McLaren and Racing Bull respectively as well there. Gaming Infinity and Ginger Age have swapped places again then as we head into turn 5 then. Down the inside goes the Williams end this time, and very good stuff indeed then. He takes back that P10 position then as we go rolls reverse once again then. I think they keep swapping each way every lap as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed then. Dynamo Dan has lost out then to Umabra. Then Umabra is up into the points paying positions now as well. Then Dynamo Dan then I think has still got the fastest lap point if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he has done, so that's going to be an extra point for him nonetheless in the Red Bull. Then good stuff indeed. Dan then all over the back of Jinner as we head into lap 30 then momentarily. Then where is he? There is Luke then starting off lap 30 as well. Then there's a Haas then I think of Styles just, well, he's getting in the way then on the apex in at turn 1 for Luke. But I don't think Luke will mind too much because he's still quite comfortable in the lead of the Grand Prix. Rocket Lee then heading into turn 3 and 4 now is 2.5 seconds behind. Then he has stormed off in the distance. Then Jinner has lost out 4.6 seconds then has Jinner. And my goodness me, what has happened then for Jinner then? He's really losing lots of time here as well then. That has trying to get out of the way I think there. As we go through then onto the main straight, then here comes Dan. There's contact then between the McLaren and the Alpine into turn 5. Very audacious, let's just say that. I'm not quite sure if Jinner moved late then or Dan just went for a move that wasn't on there, but it was nothing bad happened, thankfully. They've stayed status quo for the time being then, but Dan then I think was looking to shape for a move then with the DRS open as well. Then Mr. Elite all over the back of him here as well then. Both of them will gain a place. Then we've got yellow flag then for Styles I think once again then trying to get out of the way of the Ferrari this time. But Styles I think is now 2 or 3 laps down at this point. But there we go then into the final sector then for the penultimate time then for Luke. Then he's got a 2.7 second gap. That gap has come down. Rocket Lee has been storming off then into the distance then. He was in, Jinner was in contention with him at one point. It's now 5 seconds back to Jinner at this stage, only a few laps later. And Dan and Mr. Elite are going to be all over the back of Jinner. Then I don't think they need to worry too much because they don't need to fight that much for this position, knowing that Jinner's going to have a penalty applied to his race time then at the end of lap 31, which we've started off now then for Luke. And storming through then into turn 1 then is Luke. Then fantastic stuff indeed. Then he's done a fantastic job this race. Then Rocket Lee as well, also a fantastic job, a fantastic qualifying from Rocket Lee, and still a fantastic race. He needs to make sure he keeps it pointed in the right direction though, unless he's got a puncture there, which could be very problematic indeed. Rocket Lee just needs to make sure he gets to the finish line here. Dynamo Dan has, no, it's not Dynamo Dan, it's the other Red Bull, it's Goddard who's had an issue then in sector 2. My goodness me, what's happened to Goddard then? He's lost the left end plate then as well, has the Red Bull. Unfortunately then he's going to have to cruise back to the start finish line there. Astrojohn's picked up a penalty then. Unfortunately that would, well, it's not going to cost him a place at all actually, to be fair, because he is 3 seconds ahead of Jake the Slayer for the time being. Then where is Luke? Luke heading into the Singapore Sling. And once again, returning to form then is Luke as well. Then after a blip then in Monza, which cost him the championship lead, then he is now back on form then and storming then to the checkered flag then here in Singapore. All he needs to do is make sure he crosses that start finish line, then he will win the Grand Prix. But it's easier said than done, isn't it there? But so far so good then as we cross into sector 3 then for the final time then for Luke. Then let's see what it's going to be then from the kick salver. Then is he going to go for the fastest lap? He's gained quite a lot of time on this lap to Rocket Lee. Rocket Lee was was struggling then through the first couple of turns then on the final lap here. Heading into the chicane then for Luke. Then let's see what it's going to be then from the kick sour. Then he's going to come across the line then to win here in Singapore. And Luke then is going to get himself back on the top step once again then. Unfortunately, he doesn't reclaim the championship lead then, but he gets himself back up into contention after that race win. Fantastic from Luke here in Singapore. What a victory then from the Kick Sauber driver as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed here in Marina Bay. Rocket Lee with a fantastic race as well then, has got himself a podium here in bronze, and fantastic from Rocket Lee then. Unfortunately, Kanko has got a tendency to totally serve then as well. Rocket Lee P2 then, Dan then in P3 then onto the podium places. Then Dan of course has reclaimed or claimed or stayed in the championship lead, I should say, goodness me, with a fantastic race there as well. Then for the Alpine driver then, he's holding on to the championship lead now as well as we cruise into the final few races here of bronze season 9. Then Dan leads the way then still from Luke as it stands. Then Mr. Elite P4 then, fantastic from him. Gina P5 in the end with that penalty applied as well. Then Smithy then P6, Jake the Slayer up into P7, then does pass Astrodron then with the penalty situation as well then, so he must have got himself a few tenths then to get himself back in contention. Then Astrodron then P8, then good race from him. Then Winnie with the penalties unfortunately then down to P9, Gaming Infinity then P10, Jamie then in P11, Ginger Age P12 in the end. There's still points for Ginger Age then. We've got Goddard's crossing the line in P13. I think Umabro might be in contention for that P13 position as well then. Yes he is then. Goddard's then down to P14, then Dynamo Dan rounds off the points paying positions then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Let's go, says Jake the Stone. Then P7, best result of the season then for the for Formula Moments. That is Smithy then gets driver of the day from the game, but we'll get our last minute votes in then for driver of the day. Then it is stuck between Luke and Mr. Elite as it stands as well there. There is the podium celebrations as well then. Luke then on the top spot there as well then. We've got the Williams then of Rocket Lee in P2 then, and the Alpine of Dan then gets himself on the podium then with the penalties for drivers around him as well towards the end of that race. Then fantastic stuff indeed as the podium celebrations are underway, and we'll run through the classification and get some interviews underway in a few moments as well then. Oh, my voice needs a rest after doing 2 Singapore Grand Prix back to back, to be fair. But brilliant stuff indeed then from all the drivers out there as well. Then everyone apart from one then managed to get to the checkered flag as well here. Fantastic stuff indeed. But there we are then. Good stuff. There is the classification then. Luke wins the Singapore Grand Prix then. Gets himself back in contention then for the championship lead as well then. But he's still a few points behind now, but he has closed the gap there. Rocket Lee P2 then. Dan in P3 then regains or stays in the championship lead. Then Mr. Elite P4. Juno P5 then. Smithy P6 then. Stayer in P7. Astrodron in P8. Winnie P9 and Gaming Infinity P10 then with a fantastic battle with Ginger Age in P12. Jamie then up into P11 then with the penalties then for the Racing Bull. Then your Mabro P13. Goddard's P14. Serious Mushroom P15, Dynamo Dan P16, Vintage P17, Decanco P18, Styles in P19, and Ashley San retired from the race in the pit lane. And there we are then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Then we'll start off the interviews momentarily then as we get ourselves sorted. I can't get myself sorted because I don't know what I'm doing. There we go then. I've got myself sorted. We'll start off then with Dan. I think has he joined us? No, he hasn't. There we go. We'll start with Rocket Lee then. So good stuff. Rocket Lee, fantastic qualifying from yourself then. Pole position by quite a margin as well. 2.5 tenths there at the very end then. And looking formidable on the pace then in the Grand Prix itself as well there. What was your thoughts going into that race? Did you think you had the win on the cards there?
For the first part of the race, I was thinking, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. And then straight after the pits, I make a mistake. And I just couldn't catch Luke in the end. No matter how hard I was pushing, I just couldn't catch him. But well done, Luke.
And you did a fantastic performance in qualifying then. It was, like I said, absolutely blistering pace indeed then. And looking very strong out there in the qualifying laps as well then. To be fair, in the medium compound in the first stint, you held it all together as well. Then we're controlling the race for the majority of the first stint as well there. And like you said, after the pit stops, then the hard compound tires just didn't work for you. Then it didn't look like. Then was it the setup issue, or was there something else going on there?
No, it was just temperature. I just couldn't get the temps together for the first couple of laps, and then once I got there, I was able to maintain the pace and cover off P2.
And fantastic race from yourself then. We're going to see some more of Rocket Lee back at the top then, rocketing around in qualifying and in the race as well?
Oh, you know it.
Good stuff indeed. Then nice to have you back then at the top of the order as well. Fantastic then from Rocket League, then P2 tonight then for Williams. Then we'll jump on to Luke then. Luke, back in the top spot then, back where you are familiar with this season, I should say. How was that from your point of view then for this whole race?
Oh, that was. I like Singapore as a track, and it was probably my second preferred option tonight. But oh man, that track is a sweat fest. You have to concentrate. Like as soon as I started talking to my engineer, sort of casually, I was there's a warning. Oh, there's another warning. So yeah, it's a really sweaty track, but yeah, really good fun. Really enjoyed racing with Lee again. Felt like the old days. Felt like Melbourne at the start of the season. He was rapid tonight. But yeah, all in all, very happy with tonight's performance.
And, well, you might be disappointed about something there because Dan did sneak his way into the podium places then. Well, he needed P4 if you were winning to hold on to the championship lead then. So, unfortunately for you, then he still holds on to that championship lead by only a few points now. But with 3 races remaining, then what's the situation then? What's the plan then for Luke then in the final 3 races?
Well, obviously push as hard as I can. I lost the championship lead last week. The bastards at work have me working again sort of late next week, so I'm probably going to have my missus do a few laps at the start before I get home, and then the week after though I'm clean. So next week is going to be a matter of simply just trying to minimise the damage limitation, because obviously Dan's rapid. He's always get into places where sometimes I wish he wasn't. Yeah, very sneaky P3. So next week's going to be damage limitation. Then for the last 2 races, just give it flat out, give it all I've got, and then just hope that something comes my way, really.
Good stuff indeed. Then, so hopefully we'll see you back at, the top step in. Maybe not after, we'll see, but it could be very, very close in the championship then for bronze. Then going into the final couple of races, it sounds like as well. Then good stuff indeed. But fantastic stuff indeed from yourself, Luke, as well. Then congratulations as well to yourself with the win, and for Kick Sauber as well. I'm sure they're very happy with you. Well done indeed. Then to all drivers, then all 19 drivers who got themselves to the checkered flag tonight as well in a very difficult circuit indeed here in bronze. Then good stuff. Well, that'll be it for the week then. We've wrapped up then for bronze and for the ALR divisions this week. We'll head into another Mystery Grand Prix in a week's time then, which of course is going to be either Mexico, Brazil or Vegas. So we'll have to wait and see what the Mystery Wheel spits up for gold on Sunday, silver on Monday and bronze of course in a week's time then. Thanks very much for joining us everybody then. We'll see you in a week's time, or on Sunday I should say, for gold. We'll see you very soon then. Thanks very much for joining us.